Hello my lovelies, it is time for round 41 of Have I Read It? So stay tuned. So if you watch the first 2 rounds for this month, you know my October TBR is gonna end up being ridiculous. Probably more so than usual because I am doing 4 Have I Read It's this month. And in the first 2 that I've already done for this month, I have to read more than 1 book for each of those. And I'm kind of feeling a little pessimistic for this one and the next one just because I have not done well on those past ones. So, if you're new here, Have I Read It is a way where you get to help pick my TBR for the upcoming month. So I go through and I react to an old haul that's over 3 years ago, and I tell you if I've read the books, if I haven't read the books, or if I've unhauled the books. And out of the ones that I haven't read, I will stack here. Unless it's a series, then I'll just put the first book in that series here. But from my stack, if I have 10 or less books, I'll pick the #1 voted book. If I have 11 to 20 books, I'll pick the top 2 voted books. 21 to 30, the top 3, and so on and so on. Hopefully we don't go beyond that, but that's how I go about doing this. You can vote for as many books as you like, but the ones that get the most votes are the ones that I end up selecting. So we are currently on the Book Outlet October haul, and in this one I'll be reacting to part 3, which seems like a long one, so I'm scared. Let's get started. Hey guys, it's Melanie. Welcome to my channel. Today is part 3 of my October Book Outlet haul, so stay tuned. So if you've been keeping up with this whole October Book Outlet haul, I started with 12 boxes. I'm down to 6. So I'm gonna open 3 more boxes for this video. So let's go. Got some paper, and some paper, and my receipt. I was all about the Christmassy books when I placed this order. Okay, so the first book in this box is The Dogs of Christmas by W. Bruce Cameron. I have read that, I do believe. Let me double check, but I'm pretty sure I have. Yes, I have read that one. Next. Okay, next up I have a trilogy. This is the Noctis Magicae series. We have The Midnight Queen by Sylvia Izzo Hunter, Lady of Magic, and A Season of Spells. Okay, I have not read any of those. Let me see which one is the first. Actually, I have unhauled that series, so oops. Next. Okay, so next up is Xmas, A Love-Hate Story by Kate Bryan. I have read that one. I read that at the beginning of this year. Next. Okay, next we have A Christine Feehan Holiday Treasury. 3 captivating paranormal holiday novellas from the acclaimed author of Dark Celebration. I have not read Holiday Treasury, but I need to check and see if that's part of a series because I'm guessing it is. Okay, so that book has 3 novellas in it. And let's see. Okay, so I think if I were to read this, I would actually only read the first novella because it's the start of a series. But the next one actually goes after a different story. So let's see. The first one is called After the Music, and this says, terrified by mysterious threats, Jessica Fitzpatrick takes her twin wards to the island mansion of their estranged father, Dylan Wentworth, a famous musician who shut out the world after a fire claimed his wife's life and left him disfigured with Christmas approaching. The spark between Dylan and Jessica might light the future, but the evil machinations of those who share his late wife's love of the occult may plunge the family into darkness unless a Christmas miracle occurs. So, If you want me to read this, just vote Holiday Treasury. All right, let me get back to the video. All right, next up. Okay, so like the Christine Feehan books, I actually have 3 more that are Christmas compilation books. So we have It Must Be Christmas by Jennifer Cruz, Donna Allward, and Mandy Baxter. And there are 3 holiday stories in here. I feel like I read It Must Be Christmas, but let me check. Yeah, I did, but I also unhauled it. Next. Next is All Is Calm, All Is Bright, 2 Christmas novellas by Colleen Coble. I think I've read this one too, so let me just check. Yes, I have. Next up. And the last one like that is Mistletoe and Mr. Right, 2 stories of holiday romance by Lila Payne. I can't remember if I've read this one. I have to check. Okay, I have not read that one, so let me go grab that. Okay, this says Mistletoe and Mr. Right. Jessica takes a flying leap and follows her Irish boyfriend home for the holidays, sure that Ireland will provide the perfect backdrop for the beginning of their happily ever after. But it turns out the only person making the trip worthwhile is the local farmhand, who has a way of showing up when Jessica needs him most and least. And then the second story, I guess, is Sleigh Bells and Second Chances. Christina Lake does not want to be away at Christmas, but it's her job to babysit one of London's hottest bands, even though she had a fling with the band's lead singer, Carrie, that never officially ended. Maybe London is exactly where she's supposed to be to get the perfect New Year's kiss, if Carrie can find a way to prove himself before the clock strikes 12. So, if you want me to read this, vote Mistletoe and Mr. Right. It might be a little weird reading Christmas books in October. Next. Okay, next up is Christmas Bliss by Mary Kay Andrews. I unhauled this one. Next. Okay, next up is The Gift of a Charm by Melissa Hill. I'm pretty sure I've read this one. Let me check. Well, I didn't mark it on Goodreads, and I can't completely remember. So I'm gonna say I didn't read it. So let me go get that. I feel like I did, but I'm not certain. This says, every charm bracelet tells a story, and Holly O'Neill knows this better than most. Many years ago, she was given the gift of her very own charm bracelet with just a single charm attached, but the sender remained unknown. More charms have arrived ever since, often at challenging times, as if the mysterious sender knows exactly when she needs a little magic in her life. As a result, Holly's bracelet is her most prized possession, so when she finds someone else's lost charm bracelet left behind in the pocket of an old coat, she feels she has to try to reunite it with its owner, even if the only clues she has to follow are the charms themselves. On a search that will take her all over New York City at Christmas, Holly becomes ever more determined to piece together the details of this other life. But what she doesn't know is that her quest may also lead her to someone she never, ever expected to meet. Alright, so if you want me to read this, vote The Gift of a Charm. Alright, let me get back to the video here. Next. So that's all the Christmassy books in this box, but not all the books in this box. Okay, so the next book is The Realm of Possibility by David Leviathan or Levithan. I have not read that. Let me go get it. Okay, this says, there's the girl who is in love with Holden Caulfield. The boy who wants to be strong, who falls for the girl who's convinced she needs to be weak. The girl who writes love songs for a girl she can't have. The 2 boys teetering on the brink of their first anniversary, and everyone in between. As he did in the highly acclaimed Boy Meets Boy, David Levithan gives us a world of unforgettable voices that readers will want to visit again and again. It's the realm of possibility open to us all, where love, joy, and the stories we tell will linger. So if you want me to read this, vote The Realm of Possibilities. Alright, next up. Okay, next up is Unmarked, which is the second book in the Legion series by Cami Garcia. I unhauled this. Next. And then the last book in this box is Labor Day by Joyce Maynard. I have not read that. One second. Okay, this says, with the end of summer closing in and a steamy Labor Day weekend looming in the town of Holton Mills, New Hampshire, lonely, friendless 13-year-old Henry spends most of his time watching television, reading, and daydreaming, with only his emotionally fragile, long-divorced mother for company. But everything changes on the Thursday before the holiday weekend when a mysterious bleeding man named Frank asks Henry for a hand. Over the next 5 days, Henry will learn some of life's most valuable lessons about the breathless pain of jealousy, the power of betrayal, and the importance of putting those we care about above ourselves, and that real love is worth waiting for. From acclaimed author Joyce Maynard comes a beautiful, poignant tale of love, sex, adolescence, and devastating treachery as seen through the eyes of a young teenager and the man he later becomes. So if you want me to read this, vote Labor Day. All right, we're almost a third of the way through. Next. Okay, now time for another big one. Okay, we got paper. And my receipt. There's a lot of books in this box. Okay, so the first book in this box is The Evolution of Mara Dyer by Michelle Hodkin. I have not read that, and I'm not sure if that's the first book in this series or not, so let me look that up. No, that is the second book. The first book is The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer. Hold on. Okay, because I actually don't own the first book, I'm just going to hold up this one for now. The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer is the first book, and it says, Mara Dyer believes life can't get any stranger than waking up in a hospital with no memory of how she got there. It can. She believes there must be more to the accident she can't remember that killed her friends and left her strangely unharmed. There is. She doesn't believe that after everything she's been through, she can fall in love. She's wrong. So if you want me to read that, vote The Unbecoming of Mara Dyer. All right, next. Okay, next up is Kiss Me Again by Rachel Vale. I unhauled this one. Next. Okay, next up is Manhattan Night by Colin Harrison. I'm not sure about this one. I have to look it up. Okay, I actually unhauled that one. So, next up. And next is A List of Things That Didn't Kill Me, a memoir by Jason Schmidt. I have not read that, but let me check and see if I still have that one. Okay. This is... Jason Schmidt wasn't surprised when he came home one day during his senior year of high school and found his father, Mark, crawling around on the kitchen floor in a giant pool of blood. Things like that had been happening a lot since Mark had been diagnosed with HIV 3 years earlier. From watching Mark get arrested in their living room when Jason was 3 years old, to enduring a series of house fires, homelessness, and a bout of flesh-eating staph infection, Jason had figured out a long time ago that his home life wasn't like most other people's. Jason had grown up calling those other people, the ones with normal lives, straights, and he envied them. But he also feared them. Jason's life with Mark and his friends was full of secrets about drugs, crime, and sex. If the straights ever found out any of those secrets, Jason's home could be torn apart. A List of Things That Didn't Kill Me is a funny, disturbing memoir full of brutal insights and unexpected wit. So if you want me to read this, vote A List of Things That Didn't Kill Me. All right, next. Okay, next up is Janie Face to Face by Carolyn B. Cooney. I'm not sure if I read Janie Face to Face. I did read some of that series. That is the Janie Johnson series. I read the first 2 books, but Janie Face to Face is actually book 5. It's the last book in that series. So the first one that I haven't read is The Voice on the Radio. So let me grab that. So the first book in this series is The Face on the Milk Carton. And it's about a girl who recognizes herself in one of those little milk carton pictures, you know, missing child kind of thing, and learns to realize that her parents are not actually her parents. So this is book 3. It's called The Voice on the Radio. So if you want me to vote for this, or if you want me to read this, vote for The Voice on the Radio. All right, next up. Okay, next we have All the Truth That's in Me by Julie Berry. I read part of that, a big part of it, and then I unhauled it. I DNF'd it and unhauled it. It's terrible. Next. So you're gonna see probably a change in outfit, probably a change in makeup, because, well, I've been filming these book outlet haul videos back to back, and I've been filming for many hours now. And it is currently after 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm tired, and I just don't think I can finish this tonight. So I'm going to stop this now, and I'm going to pick it back up tomorrow and finish with this video. So yeah, you're gonna see it a whole new day in the same video. And then I still have to finish filming the last part too. But there's still lots of books left in this video, so stay tuned. I'll be right back to you. Okay, so it's a new day, and it's actually like 1:42 in the afternoon the next day. But I have gotten some sleep, and I'm refreshed and ready to continue. So back to the books in this box. Okay, so the next book is Pretty Girl 13 by Liz Cooley. I have not read that, so let me go grab it. Speaking of it being 1 o'clock in the morning, it's actually 1:15 right now in the morning. Okay, so Pretty Girl 13. This says, in Liz Cooley's alarming and fascinating psychological mystery, 16-year-old Angie Chapman must piece together the story of her kidnapping and abuse. Pretty Girl 13 is a disturbing and ultimately empowering page-turner about accepting our whole selves and the healing power of courage, hope, and love. So if you want me to read this, vote Pretty Girl 13. Sorry if the angle changed, but my SD card filled up, and while I was at it, I went ahead and changed my battery as well. So we should be good for a little bit. Continuing on. Okay, next we have The Death of Us by Alice Coopers. Okay, I don't recall this book, so I might have unhauled it. Let me check. Yes, I did unhaul that. Next. Next we have Mortal Danger by Anne Aguirre. I have to look. I'm not sure if I unhauled that one or not. I did not. Here it is. Eddie Kramer has a score to settle with the beautiful people at Blackbriar Academy. Their cruelty drove her to the brink of despair, and 4 months ago she couldn't imagine being strong enough to face her senior year. But thanks to a Faustian compact with the enigmatic Kane, she now has the power to make the bullies pay. She's not supposed to think about Kane once the deal is done, but devastating pain burns behind his unearthly beauty, making him impossible to forget. So that's all I'm going to read of that. If you want me to read this, vote Mortal Danger. So that puts us at 10. So if we get even one more, I'll have to read more than one book from this video as well. And we're only like halfway through this video. Next. Okay, next up is Inland by Kat Rosenfield. I think this is one I have unhauled, but I have to check. Yes, I unhauled that one. Next. Okay, so next up we have the box set of book 1 and 2 of The School for Good and Evil. So we have The School for Good and Evil and A World Without Princes. And it's wrapped in this plastic. And then I also got book 3, which is The Last Ever After. Okay, I have not read any of that series. Let me go grab the first book. So I've heard really good things about this, and this is one that I'm very much interested in still. And I think there's a show as well now, or a movie. I don't know if it's come out, or I think it has. This says, This year, best friends Sophie and Agatha are about to discover where all the lost children go, the fabled school for good and evil, where ordinary boys and girls are trained to be fairy tale heroes and villains. As the most beautiful girl in Gavaldon, Sophie has dreamed of being kidnapped into an enchanted world her whole life. With her pink dresses, glass slippers, and devotion to good deeds, she knows she'll earn top marks at the school for good and graduate a storybook princess. Meanwhile, Agatha, with her shapeless black frocks, wicked pet cat, and dislike of nearly everyone, seems a natural fit for the School of Evil. But when the two girls are swept into the endless woods, they find their fortunes reversed, and they'll quickly find that the only way out of a fairy tale is to live through it. So if you want me to read this, vote the School for Good and Evil. That also means at least 2 books. Yep. From this one. Next. Okay, next up we have The Many Lives of John Stone by Linda Buckley Archer. I do believe I've unhauled this one. Yeah. Next. Okay, next up is Charisma by Jeanne Ryan. I don't remember. So let me go see if I've unhauled it or not. Okay, I found it. It's got bunnies on it too. This one says, how far would you go to change yourself from the inside out? Aislinn is the kind of shy that makes her choke up in class and avoid parties, and it means talking to her crush Jack is a total non-starter. So when she's offered a dose of charisma, an underground gene therapy drug guaranteed to make her shine, she jumps at the chance for an internal makeover. The effects are instant. She's charming, vivacious, and popular. But strangely, so are some other kids she knows. The media goes into a frenzy when the therapy turns contagious and then deadly, and the doctor who gave it to them disappears. Aislinn must choose between reversing the treatment and losing her new personality, or risking her life for a shot at charisma. So if you want me to read this, vote charisma. Alright, let me get back to the video. Next. Okay, next up is Code Orange by Carolyn B. Cooney. I have not read that. Hold on. Alright, this says, walking around New York City is what Mitty Blake does best. He loves the city, and even after 9/11, he's always felt safe. Mitty is a carefree guy. He doesn't worry about terrorists or blackouts or school. He'd much rather watch the game or hang out than do research on infectious diseases just to get a good grade. Mitty does feel a little pressure to hand something in, so he considers it good luck when he finds some old medical books in his family's weekend house. But when he discovers an envelope containing 2 scabs in one of the books, the report is no longer about the grade. It's about life and death, his own. Variola major is a virus. It has no personality, no blood for circulating, no brain for thinking. It has one task: to take over the cells of other creatures and spread. It has the potential to kill everyone in New York City unless Mitty does the right thing. So if you want me to read this, vote Code Orange. Alright, next up. Okay, next up is The House by Christina Lauren. I have not read this. Hold on. This says, his shirt is black, his jeans are black, and shaggy black hair falls into his eyes. And when Gavin looks up at Delilah, his dark eyes, shadowed with bluish circles, seem to flicker to life. He lives in that house, the one at the edge of town, spooky and maybe haunted, something worse than haunted. And Gavin is trapped by its secrets. Delilah and Gavin can't resist each other, but staying together will exact a price beyond their imagining. So if you want me to read this, vote The House. Alright, next up. Okay, next up is The Way I Used to Be by Amber Smith. I feel like I have read this, but I need to check. Yes, I have read it. Okay, cool. Alright. Next. Okay, so next up is this duology that I guess it sounds really, really interesting to me because I purchased it not even realizing that I had already purchased this before and it was on my shelf. So it has to sound really good because I bought it twice. Both books. And that is Scan and Burn by Walter Jury and Sarah Fine. I have not read either of those. Okay, so Scan is the first book. Let me go grab that. So technically I unhauled that version of Scan, but I do have this version. This says, what is the secret behind his father's invention and why are so many willing to kill for it? Tate and his father don't exactly get along. As Tate sees it, his father has unreasonably high expectations for Tate to be the best at everything. Tate finally learns what he's being prepared for when he steals one of his dad's odd tech inventions and mercenaries ambush his school, killing his father and sending Tate on the run from aliens who look just like humans. All Tate knows, like how to make weapons out of oranges and lighter fluid, may not be enough to save him as he's plunged into a secret interspecies conflict that's been going on for centuries. So if you want me to read this, vote Scan. All right, next. So next up is Magnolia by Christy Cook. I feel like I've unhauled this, but I might not. Let me check. I did not. Here it is. In Magnolia Branch, Mississippi, the Cafferty and the Marsden families are Southern royalty. Neighbors since the Civil War, the families have shared vacations, holidays, backyard barbecues, and the overwhelming desire to unite their two clans by marriage. So when a baby boy and girl were born to the families at the same time, the perfect opportunity seemed to have finally arrived. Gemma Cafferty and Ryder Marsden have no intention of giving in to their parents' wishes. They're only 17 for goodness sake, not to mention that one little problem, they hate each other. Gemma can't stand Ryder's nauseating golden boy persona, and Ryder would like nothing better than to pretend stubborn Gemma doesn't exist. But when a violent Mississippi storm ravages Magnolia Branch, it unearths Gemma's and Ryder's true feelings for each other, and that the line between love and hate may be thin enough to risk crossing over. So if you want me to read this, vote Magnolia. All right, I'm getting a little concerned. Next. Okay, now for the last box for this part of the haul. We'll do this box. Paper. 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 My receipt. Okay, so the first book in this box is The Candy Shop War by Brandon Muell. I have not read that. Let me go get it. Okay, this says, magical candies that give kids superpowers? Sweet. When Nate, Summer, Trevor, and Pigeon wander into the Sweet Tooth ice cream and candy shop, nothing will ever be the same. Miss White, owner of the Sweet Tooth, makes really good candy with really strange side effects. Rock candy that makes you weightless. Jawbreakers that make you unbreakable. Chocolate balls that make you a master of disguise. And now she wants the kids to use the magical candy to help her find a treasure, a very powerful treasure. But Mr. Stott, the driver of the ice cream truck, wants the kids to help him stop Mrs. White. And who's the strange man in the fedora who keeps showing up? Can they trust anyone? In over their heads, Nate, Summer, Pigeon, and Trevor decide that they have to get to the treasure first. And so the war begins. So if you want me to read this, vote The Candy Shop Wars. The Candy Shop War. All right, next up. Okay, next we have Days of Blood and Starlight by Leonie Taylor, and this is the second book in the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series. I haven't read this one. I'm sure I haven't read it. Let me just double check. No, I have not read it. I did read the first book, but I feel like I would have to read the first book again. So I'm gonna grab that because honestly I don't know if I actually finished the first book or not because of what was going on at the time that I was reading it. Because I remember it was Y'all Fest. I wasn't doing my buddy reads the same way that I do now, and I was buddy reading a whole bunch of different books all at the same time, and I was just like, I can't do it. I have to stop. But I can't remember if I just stopped after finishing that book and didn't continue with the series, or stopped in the middle of the book. I honestly don't remember. So let me go grab Daughter of Smoke and Bone. Okay, I pulled up on Goodreads because this doesn't really tell me anything on the book. It says, around the world, black handprints are appearing on doorways, scorched there by winged strangers who've crept through a slit in the sky. In a dark and dusty shop, a devil's supply of human teeth grows dangerously low. And in the tangled lanes of Prague, a young art student is about to be caught up in a brutal, otherworldly war. Meet Caro. She fills her sketchbooks with monsters that may or may not be real. She's prone to disappearing on mysterious errands. She speaks many languages, not all of them human, and her bright blue hair actually grows out of her head that color. Who is she? That is the question that haunts her, and she's about to find out. When beautiful, haunted Akiva fixes fiery eyes on her in an alley in Marrakesh, the result is blood and starlight, secrets unveiled, and star-crossed love whose roots drink deep of a violent past. But will Caro live to regret learning the truth about herself? See, I remember part of that, but I don't remember anything about like a love or relationship or anything like that. So yeah, if you want me to read this, vote Daughter of Smoke and Bone. All right, let me get back to the video. Okay, next. Next up we have Unhooked by Lisa Maxwell. I have not read that. Let me check and make sure that's not part of a series. Okay, it is not. Let me go grab it. Okay, all I know about this is that it's a Peter Pan retelling. It says, for as long as she can remember, Gwendolyn Allister has never had a place to call home, all because her mother believes that monsters are hunting them. Now these delusions have brought them to London, far from the life Gwen had finally started to build for herself. The only saving grace is her best friend Olivia, who's coming with them for the summer. But when Gwen and Olivia are kidnapped by shadowy creatures and taken to a world of flesh-eating sea hags and dangerous fae, Gwen realizes her mom might have been sane all along. The world Gwen finds herself in is called Neverland, yet it's nothing like the stories. Here, good and evil lose their meaning and memories slip like water through her fingers. As Gwen struggles to remember where she came from and find a way home, she must choose between trusting the charming fairy tale hero who says all the right things and the roguish young pirate who promises to keep her safe. With time running out and her enemies closing in, Gwen is forced to face the truth she's been hiding from all along. But will she be able to save Neverland without losing herself? So if you want me to read this, vote Unhooked. This stack is getting very tall. Next. Okay, next I got this box set plus another book that goes along with the series of 5 Kingdoms by Brandon Mull. So in here we have the first 3 books, and then I also purchased the 4th book as well. I have not read any of the 5 Kingdoms, so let me go get the first book. Okay, this one says, Cole Randolph is just trying to have fun with his friends on Halloween, but their trip to neighborhood haunted house turns out to be the start of a wild adventure when Cole watches his friends being whisked away through a mysterious passage. Cole dives in after them only to emerge somewhere that's very clearly no longer Mesa, Arizona. He soon learns he's come to a place called the Outskirts. Made up of 5 kingdoms, the outskirts lie between wakefulness and dreaming, reality and imagination, life and death. The balance of power in the 5 kingdoms has been upset, and the magic there is becoming unstable. It's up to Cole and an unusual girl named Mira to set things right, rescue his friends, and hopefully survive long enough for Cole to find his way back home. I mean, it's set at Halloween, so this wouldn't be a bad one to have in October. So if you want me to read this, vote 5 Kingdoms. Oh my goodness, we are at 20 right now. If I get one more that I have to add to this stack, I have to read the top 3 voted books for this video. Next we have Daughter of the Siren Queen by Trisha Levenseller. I haven't read it. I know this is part of a series, so hold on. Okay, Daughter of the Pirate King is the first book. Daughter of the Siren Queen is the second book. And I haven't read the first book, so let me go get that. Here we go. This says, there will be plenty of time for me to beat him soundly once I've gotten what I came for. Sent on a mission to retrieve an ancient hidden map, the key to a legendary treasure trove, 17-year-old pirate captain Alosa deliberately allows herself to be captured by her enemies, giving her the perfect opportunity to search their ship. More than a match for the ruthless pirate crew, Alosa has only one thing standing between her and the map, her captor, the unexpectedly clever and unfairly attractive first mate Raiden. But not to worry, for Alosa has a few tricks up her sleeve, and no lone pirate can stop the daughter of the Pirate King. So if you want me to read this, vote Daughter of the Pirate King. And that means 3 books from this video. I'm sure we won't get up to the 4th because we're getting very close to the end, but dang it. Next. Okay, and then the last book in this box is The Candy Makers by Wendy Mass. I haven't read that one either. Okay, so this is the last book. This one says, at the Life is Sweet Candy Factory, Logan, Miles, Daisy, and Philip are about to compete in the National Candy Making Competition of a Lifetime. Who will make a candy more delicious than the oozing Crunchorama or the neon yellow Lightning Chew? The contestants face off in a battle of wits and sugar, but soon they realize that things are not what they seem, and they find themselves in a candy-filled world of surprises, suspense, and mouth-watering creations. So if you want me to read this, vote The Candy Makers. And I have 22 books in this stack. So 3. The top 3 books. I still have another Have I Read It video to follow this. Yeah, maybe 4 in 1 month was not a good idea. Well, comment down below what you want me to read. Please be kind. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. If you'd like to see more videos like this, click that subscribe button down below. And until next time, remember to always be completely you. Bye.